crazy, my baby, dancing with the lights. Together we could chase the sun tonight. Let me take you for a ride. Ooh, tonight. Let's
Hello, everyone. Big day for CTF MCPVP. Brawl. I don't know what else I need to say. Brawl hype. Everyone in the studio is shifting up and down their stairs. Look, they can't even contain their excitement. Oh my god, Chalk's flying. Looking like, oh my god. He's got the tux on. Pesto's got this fire sweater. Bloom's fits kind of lacking low key, but you know who it is. We got Pesto, Patty, Trevor, Chalk, and Bloom up on the desk to announce the second draft team tournament for summer 2021. Woo!
Let's
Yay.
go.
So here we are. Most of you who are watching are going to know what this is about. So it's pretty much the same format as any kind of leader pick PPM or Pug if you're familiar. We're going to have a bunch of leaders who are going to be drafting. Bunch of players who signed up. I believe we have hovering around 130 signups this year, which is about the same as last year. So glad everyone came out again and are super excited to have this. We're going to take it to Bloomishly to explain the leaders and how the draft will exactly go.
All right, so this year's leaders are Tourney, Ryan, Bosque, Cardona, the name is Sam, Sayan, and the only returning leader from the 2020 DTT Food Court. Each team will draft around 17 players. The draft will be starting momentarily, and I'm going to go ahead and list it off to Patty, who is going to be naming the maps that we're going to be playing.
Hell yeah. Hello, gamers. So we'll talk about the map pool quickly for the Draft Tournament 2.0. We will be returning to the initial map being chosen by the hosts, which was popular in the last DTT, and I think I'm excited to see some different maps get played. There will be RNG'd 6 maps to go into a loser pick format after the first map that has been picked by the hosts. So the loser of the first map will then pick from an RNG'd 6 pool map, which I'm going to read out the maps now that are applicable in that. So we have Airlock 3, American Fort 1, Low Rise 1, Pagodas 3, Skyworlds 6. They are all 3 captures. 4 capture maps are Aquarium 1, Bizarre 1, and Rundown. And 5 capture maps are Adrenaline 1, Blackout 2020, Castle Cabin 6, and Forest of Rivals 2. So a few different maps in there to normal. I think Aquarium we haven't really seen be played in competitive too often. And American Fort 1 is kind of making a popular return since previously being made quite popular by CX. So yeah, it's a few newer ones in there, and it will be exciting to see how teams adapt to that and how maybe some drafts will be shaped towards those newer maps. Also going to lift off some player referees. We have Glaze 1111, Red Brew 123, and Pepe, who are community members who will be refereeing. We also have Ninsanity and Bloomishly returning from retired mod status, who have also been referees before, and Geiseline is a hard name to say. Anyway, S-Mod and will be refereeing as well. So those are our 6 community referees to help throughout the tournament. And that's me over to Chalk section.
So I'm going to just be going over the draft order. So first pick is Ryan, then it's Sayan, Cardona, Food Court, Bosque, the name is Sam, and then last pick is Tourney. This is a snake draft, so once Tourney picks 7th, he will make the first pick of the second round, and so on and so forth.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
Yep,
that simple.
that's basically how it's going to go.
Rennie will have first pick of the second round, and then it'll be the name is Sam, Bosque, Food Court, Cardona, Sayan, and Ryan. And it's just going to go into that order until we have selected all players, aside from a couple subs.
I think
Yep.
an interesting thing with that snaking draft is I think I think you get an advantage depending on which position you're in. So being at the start or the end, you get to kind of double pick. I think Food Court's probably in the worst position being in the middle. It's like just has to wait the exact same amount of time every time. So sucks for him, but I think it'll be interesting to see any kind of stratagem around that.
Yeah. For those on this desk who played in the draft tournament last year, how do you think things are going to be different this 0.0 version?
We are missing a lot of players who were key players in last year's draft. We don't have as many players as last year too, but we also have some newer members of the community, including Ryan, who last year wasn't even a mod or part of the community that much, but now here he is as a draft team leader. So I'm kind of excited to see how all these players come out and perform.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. See some, maybe even last year we had some, 10th to 15th round picks who are now heavy hitters in the community and or our band, namely Reegs. But
Uh-huh.
those late round picks really mean a lot here, and it's we saw Wolfie's team skyrocket to almost getting first place due to those 2 late picks being in clutch for him, namely Redacted Force coming in first place for having a really solid draft with drafting players who are all familiar with each other. But this for the past 7, 8 months we've had pugs, and all these leaders me drafting now have experience leading in those pugs, and sometimes those pugs are running daily. The same leaders are doing like drafts like every day for weeks on end. So there's a lot more experience this time around. Last time it was the first time we were kind of desperate for look, we were admittedly desperate for people to lead. We made some bad decisions, namely Azel, for being leaders. And but I'm excited for this time because I think it's going to be a lot more clean. I think these leaders have a good idea of how to draft well, and also the skill level of all these leaders is really really up there, which is exciting to see.
Yeah, I think there's also the importance of like the different roles that the leaders play. Foucault and Cardona are probably the 2 offensive leaders, whereas the rest kind of play defense. So, it'll be interesting to see if their focus early on will be to go mainly for defense and then solid up some offense because they know that they've already got themselves, or how those defensive players end up drafting hopefully a bit more offense at the start as well. But yeah, I'm excited. I really enjoyed those kind of sleeper picks that got picked up last year. I mean, Valicon was like a massive one who got so much value and ended up being a really great archer. And I'm looking for Magoo 1 to kind of fill in that role this year. I think he could be a really good pick. Like unironically, I think he could be really great. We'll just have to see how he goes in the competitive setting. But I feel like we haven't heard from Pesto. So Pesto, give us some opinions. How do you feel?
I feel like we've seen like these leaders as pug mods in the pug Discord throughout the past few months. So it's gonna be interesting seeing how like they all do in this draft, which is, I mean, it's obviously really different from like a regular leader pick. I know like each leader sort of has their own way with like who they're gonna draft, what roles they're gonna draft, and what order and whatnot. And as you said, like I wonder what sleeper picks there will be throughout this draft. I know there's gonna be a ton. Like as you said, Magoo, like I feel like he's been sort of like a meme lately, but like I genuinely feel like he could be like a sleeper pick in this draft. And there are plenty of other players I can probably think of who are also sleeper picks. So yeah, it's gonna be really entertaining. It's just like last year. Yeah. Unlike last year though, there's only like 7 leaders in this draft, so I wonder how that's going to affect the format of this tournament. But yeah, that's all I
Looks
really
like
have to say.
leaders have finished the round 1 of picking. So us on the desk we have no idea who's getting picked right now. We're about to unfold and talk about this first round, which is always quite exciting. So our lovely streamer in Insanity will be taking you to some very cool graphics brought to you by Brawl's newly promoted developer, Tom D53. Insanity. Okay, here we go. So Ryan's first pick is going to be Chick D.
Yeah, that
Yes.
is.
Okay. I mean, Chick D. He carried my team last year. Thank God he was on our team because we would not have. We lost 7 matches, but we would have lost them quicker without him. So that's an interesting pick. I think a defensive player like Ryan getting another really, really good defensive player is an interesting idea. Usually, what I would think is you would pick kind of a role that's maybe opposite yours. If you're an insta kill, you're gonna pick a good roam or maybe a good offender. But I think this cheeky pick makes a lot of sense for Ryan. Anyone want to weigh in on that?
I remember him talking about picking a second Pyro as his first pick, so he wouldn't be on that role. I guess he switched that up and decided to go with a different, stronger defensive player, which is interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I heard quite a bit of talk around people picking Chick D early on, so I think it's probably Also, a little bit of nabbing there, just getting Chick D first because he gets the first pick. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that slots into Ryan's plan. I do think he might try to still pick up a Pyro. I don't think he wants to play Pyro this draft. So
I don't think
I think
anyone
that
enjoys playing that class.
yeah, pretty much.
No.
So,
Pyro
yeah.
Ryan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
R.I.P.
So it looks like Evan got the second pick, and we're gonna display that on the screen right now. Going to be Turn Me Up Trap. Everyone knows him, the egotistical maniac Sabu. Definitely not surprised with this pick. I know everyone. He's a pretty good flex player, namely good at assassin and elf. Those are probably his two best classes, I'd have to say. Also known for his Res 1 Chem. He abused the shit out of it, or the stuff out of it. Oops. And got a lot of caps for his team, both in the tournament before and the draft tournament itself. So definitely a good solid choice. With someone like Sabu, you don't have to stick him on one role right now. I think that might be Evan's game plan towards the end. When he has to pick people for actual roles, he can just put Sab wherever, and Sab will do pretty well on any role.
Yeah, I feel like something I've noticed like right off the bat in this draft, like the first two picks are both mutes. Chick D and Sab are both really good players. I wonder who the first like non-mute is going to be in this draft so far.
Yeah.
Either way, I think these two picks are really good. I think Sab is a really good, as you said, Trev. I think Sab is a really good flex player. He can flex between offense and defense throughout many roles. So I like this pick from Evan.
As well. So let's see the third pick from Cardona's side. His first pick is going to be Brandino B. Ooh, we were talking to Annie before this, and we knew Brandino. You know, the god tier archer. He can play other stuff. A lot of archers, as a name like Boss and Endergrind, for example, they can only really play archers. So when you're on maps where archer is useless, you're sort of at a disadvantage-ish. But with Brand, he can play bulk at a high level. He can play missed offense if he has to at a high level. So I think this is a really solid pick. His comms are pretty good. So this is the first, like he's the first unmute. So to answer Pesto's query,
Yeah, and I
totally
would
not
agree.
surprised.
Oh, sorry.
You go first.
Thank you. Brandino is a really good pick, especially to be going so early. Boss is another one of the draft team leaders, so it's not like you could get him to be picked. So getting an archer this early really will be advantageous to Cardona's team because it just means another team is down an archer or is going to have to like sub a player who usually doesn't play archer to play that archer role. So I think Brandino was a very good pick.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of say the same, but also that it's kind of expected that Brandino go that early because of his flexibility off Archer, on non-Archer maps. So yeah.
Definitely.
Next pick. It's going to be G.
Ooh,
Henry.
Henry, first tournament, he was first pick, and everyone knew he was gonna be first pick, just because like that was kind of before everyone knew what strategy was. No one knew how to pick right. And if like Pyro's it's the minority main in this community, and G Henry's probably the most infamous / famous Pyro. So Food Court getting Henry's a good an interesting pick, I want to say, because Food Court has a pretty good flex Pyro himself. So I'm surprised he's gonna kind of push that role away and totally now no one's ever gonna think Food Court is gonna be playing Pyro for his team. Henry, definitely not surprised he's a first round pick, but a little surprised Food Court wanted to pick him.
Yeah, I think that would be falling into Food's plan to probably shore up some offense quite in probably I would guess around the fourth round. So I think these first few picks for him will be focused pretty heavily around defense, and Henry is probably one of the stronger defensive picks for him. I think early on his plan was to get Chick D. So I think Ryan snapped Chick D, and his next best option is G Henry.
Or Team
Ooh,
Basque, that
Ozzy.
is
Oh,
Aussie.
I can. Oh, interesting pick. I can already hear Boss yelling at Ozzy halfway through a map. I both want to be in the call and don't want to even hear it. So that's a good pick from Boss. I think getting Ozzy is similar like Sabu. Ozzy can do a lot of things at a very high level, and I think the trend we're sort of. I mean, it's only been what 5 picks. A trend we're kind of seeing is leaders are mainly not getting these one trick people. They're getting these flex players who can move around in late draft once they start having like limited options. So I think Ozzy's a really good pick, known for his elf and like offensive PvP prowess, but his his ninja isn't bad and his assassin is quite formidable as well. So really good pick
as well
from
as
us.
as well as his bulk D, I'd say.
I mean his everything. Maybe not his
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what
PvP
he
can
doesn't
take
play,
you a long
but
way.
yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, flex players are getting picked first. I think that's really smart, so that when it gets down to what roles you actually need, you can move these players around a little bit to form your roster. Although one tricks are like really smart to pick first, I think going with the flex is better,
Mm.
in my opinion.
If you're a one trick, you shouldn't be picking a one trick. No offense, boss, but I think it's good for one tricks to be picking these.
Yeah.
Take over to the name is Sam's first pick now. It's going to be Dave V. Oh,
Dave. Oh,
name is
Dave
Sam.
with
Literally picked Dave first.
that's a surprise.
Yeah, I mean they always
Interesting.
yell at each other. I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's
I always
gonna be
hear
a
them
fun team.
yell at each other in calls. I mean, everyone knows that the name is Sam. Literally, everyone knows that was Dave.
It's just
Yeah.
better, isn't it? It's just better.
We
You know,
always see
Yeah.
Dave
those two. We always see
has
those two
gone.
like arguing against CTF General. I wonder what's going to be like
No,
in their Discord.
it's kind of funny though. When we in the past year, we've seen Dave go from insane swap to mid to being arguably one of the best ninjas in the game right now. So
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good idea. I think Sam's idea as a really good assassin himself is to make that realm really solid. So then maybe you can pick a 8th, 9th, 10th round okayish pyro and maybe an okayish like one other okayish defender. So because as long as maybe 4 or 5 of your roaming defense is really good, you don't really have to have an insane pyro because if you have a good roaming, right, you're going to pick off everyone. Any pyro can 1v1 a soldier, ideally. I think that's a pretty
Yeah.
smart pick for Sam, personally.
Yeah,
Unless
and I
that
think
soldiers me. I mean, what? Sorry, go ahead.
but I do think Dave also brings in a bit of strategy and leadership to the team as well, which I think is an important aspect that Sam might be looking at as well, being able to bounce ideas off another player. And in the
Yeah.
season 1 Oli team, he was probably our main defensive comms as well, so he does have an important role
Yeah,
in
I mean,
teams as well as not just playing ninja. But
he does. He's always on the team right before it disbands too, as soon as he gets promoted to a leadership role.
yeah.
So hopefully that doesn't happen. Let's take it over to Tourney, who's the last pick this round for the last round 1 pick. It's going to be
93.
definitely not surprised. Last
Not
time I believe
surprised, yeah.
or picked 93 5th round, and everyone kind of clowned him for that. But I mean, 93 is about to get the bag from the Pug Discord reward. So 93 first pick, very good choice. Again, same deal as Sabu and Ozzy. Can do anything. Known for his disgusting elf. Can solo cap against 7 people. Like he's an insane player. Insane improvement. Like, skyrocketed for the past year of his skill level. So super good choice from Tourney. I know Tourney likes team players. I know Tourney hates tilters. And when you have a person like 93 who always performs well and the mute, that's like perfect for someone like Tourney. Really
Yeah, and
good choice.
I think Trenny being also a pretty good flex player, picking another flex player is interesting, but also a pretty smart idea, so that he doesn't have to place himself on a specific role when he is making his draft. 93 also being a really good ninja and defensive flex, so that could be a possibility that Trenny's looking at. Oh.
He did not want to face him on rundown.
So yeah, I guess that it concludes round 1. I guess does anybody like have any hot takes for round 1? It's pretty early on to really talk about the composition
Yeah, I
of the
think
team. So
I'm just excited to see the future picks. I think we should just get right into it personally.
Yeah, I think we just saw. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tireless.
we just saw
Me
it.
too.
oops.
Was Trenny's second pick. Very good ninja, very good pick, I think, to go because he was last pick, so he gets to it's snake draft. So I think picking a really strong ninja was a good idea. Any thoughts on B2?
Yeah, he's a really strong player, and he's not a mute. He has pretty good comms, and he also has pretty good game sense. He knows when to go to for the ninja caps, and he knows when to roam up or when to stay on defense. So I think that was a good pick by Tourney.
And if you ever need your teeth cleaned, you know, he's your guy.
Moving on.
Ooh.
Danny. Oh.
Interesting choice.
Oh,
That's
right.
another potential tilter. So you got three potential tilters right there in a row. So I
Yeah.
mean, so I'm gonna ask you, Patty, directly, since you were on Olympus, infamous for tilting. How is it playing with people who, a moment's glance, can totally shift their gameplay to complaining exuberantly?
Yeah, I think it's one of those interesting things where it probably is overhyped a little bit, and everyone thinks that we tilt a lot more than we did. I think when it came
Okay.
down to official matches, people kind of pulled their heads in a bit and weren't too as tilty. So I think they will be okay. I don't think there will be too much
That's
anger or anything. I think in the in between, like in between matches, they will be arguing and going at each other. But I think during matches, they'll be okay and be able to manage. Um,
that's
there's
great.
some insight to the Olympus. There you go. That's our secret. We aren't actually that angry.
Just want to
That's
say
good.
that
That's good to know.
we're talking about tilting a lot, but if we really think about it, like these three players are really good at what they do. That's gonna be a really tough roam to face. Danny, Dave, and Sam. That's not a roam I want to face. So I think that's another good pick from Sam. As long as they don't tilt, as we've mentioned. I believe it was you, Trev, who mentioned that surrounding himself with other good roam players is a pretty good idea on him. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Sam going for the approach of picking two ninjas as his first two picks. I don't think any other leader did that. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I think that's an interesting approach. Building up your roam very strongly first, and both ninjas, not just roam. So, yeah. We're heading to our next pick, I think.
Going to be drumroll.
Caro.
Oh, Carol. That's an interesting choice from Boss. I know Boss is a little critical of some people sometimes, and I've never heard him. He's never talked bad about Carol. I'm not trying to say that, but he's never like praised him, at least to my knowledge. So I'm surprised he went with another defensive pick. Oh, sorry, obviously it's probably offense, but I'm surprised he went with someone like Caro first, a mute, because right now his comms, he's kind of known for like dominating comms, but I'm still a little surprised about this pick. Caro's really good. Don't get. I'm not trying to. That's not where I'm trying to take this. Caro's a very good player, and of course, good flex between defense. He can play bulk and or ninja. Pyro
And
if you really
Pyro.
really had
Yeah.
to. Yeah. But,
Yeah.
I mean, Chalk, you just said did you want to pitch in, Chalk?
Oh yeah, I
Anything
was
else?
just gonna add Pyro, but you mentioned Pyro, so I think I think it's a interesting pick, but it's not like a bad pick. It's yeah, interesting for Boss to pick another very strong defense. But since I think Boss does most of the comms, Kara doesn't talk as much, so it might be good to have a strong player, but that doesn't also try and overtake Boss comms.
Yeah, he's just going to
Definitely.
recruit a bunch of mutes.
Something to note is those first two picks are actually Miski's first two picks last year. So
Yeah.
see if that boss gets the same luck. We're going to take it to our food court's second round pick right now. Ooh, Mr. Bub Dub slash Juno Puno going already for the second pick offense. And Bub isn't really sort of like 93 Sabu and Ozzy to where he can play defense as well. Bub's a sole offense player. So that second round pick, that's really interesting for Food. It looks like Food, I think someone mentioned earlier, I want to say it was, I don't remember who said it, not sorry. He's really trying to bolster his offense early on. And Pesto, as an offensive main, do you think this is a good or bad idea to make a solid offense at first and then cross your fingers hoping you can have a good defense later?
Well, obviously, Food Court already picked G. Henry, which I think will be a really big boost to their defense. I think that's a pretty interesting pick, and I think it kind of makes sense that Food chose someone like Bub to be on his team. I remember our streamer saying yesterday in CTF General something that medics can only be as good as their main cappers. So saying that like Food Court has been working with Bub at TM throughout the season, him choosing him, Food choosing Bub, like I think is on food from Food's perspective is a pretty smart move. So I think I respect that move for that. I respect that
Yeah.
pick from Food for It.
All three
on
on
the
that team, yeah, being on the same team. So I don't know if that's a coincidence or meant to actually, he's actually picking people on his team for a reason. So next pick.
who participated, another solid flex player. I really like to see this pick. Mario's a very good player. He can. We have ideas right with Sabu, Ozzy, and whoever else was a flex player 93. But with Mario, he can really do anything. So I think this is a really good idea again from Cardona. He's a pretty good team player. He's super clutch, like one of the more well-known clutch players. So this is pretty exciting to see. I want to say he's getting him for a ninja, but he can obviously play offense as well. So I think it's a really good idea. This pick. Bloom, any opinion on this second pick of Mario?
I do think Mario is a good pick when he isn't lagging. He is a solid offense player, but also a really good defense player. He can have good comms, so yeah, solid pick from a fellow offender, I guess.
Cardona's,
Oh,
excuse
for
me, science pick.
science.
538. Ooh, we're getting the three-man package that had a lot of turmoil in the community and also granted them a bronze medal in this current season. 538 Sabu Cyan package strikes again, and we're going to see how well they do in the draft tournaments. None of you guys were LB members, I don't think. Yeah, you weren't.
No.
I can't really ask any expert opinions, but I know all of you were present for that, and I chalk you might have a little bit more experience as
Yep.
they were trying to join our team. I mean, they were ex Monkeys members and ex Foti applicants. So, I'm
So
kind of I want to stir up a little here,
So go
not
on.
drama. What was the reasoning behind denying Abu in Alaska?
for us,
Oh, because I
um,
believe they applied to FOTA. I thought about it.
oh yeah, I
Um,
thought they did.
I'm personally not very sure. I believe they tried asking Tom if they'd be able to have a spot at Fodia. Um, to be honest, we kind of just didn't have room at the time, and we kind of obviously CTF was about like winning and whatnot, but we also like have a really strong team culture at our
Mm.
at Fodia, and like I'm not saying like Evan, Sab, and like Alaska or like toxic people or anything, but like we kind of like I feel like adding 6 people like at the same time don't usually hang out with us would have had an effect on our team culture and whatnot, and we like heavily value that. So I believe that's sort of the reason why we didn't accept them at the time. Um, but they are all very good players. So Evan picking Alaska, I mean, as you said, like this is like the LB stack slash 3-man package. We saw like Food Court picking 2 TM members, now we're seeing Evan pick 2 LB members. These 3, if they all play defense together, it'd be some good synergy there.
Oh
I
yeah,
wonder how
definitely.
often I wonder how often Evan slash Alaska will unmute in their calls though is my question.
That's a good question. Um, next draft
Last pick for
pick.
the second round is going to be Ruska. Ooh,
Oh,
quite. This is the most surprising pick yet. I think this is a bit early for someone like Carson. He can again bounce around and do a lot of things. Been playing bulk for a team. He played elf offense for Annie. He did a lot of different stuff for a lot of different people. Kind of like the uh, promiscuous CTFer, I should say. He gets around a lot. This is the most surprising pick, but I think it's a good pick for Ryan. I know Carson doesn't tell. Super nice guy, super vibey guy. I know it's kind of cringe to say, but I like Carson a lot. Super good elf, super good pyro, super good bulk, yada yada yada. So this is maybe another pick where Ryan has an idea for later, and he'll figure that out later once he gets those kind of class 1 tricks. Now we're going to be moving on to the third round. We're going to take it over to Pattisley to announce these picks.
Yeah, so we'll go straight back into Ryan, who's picked Big Soldier, Big Justin to be in for his team in the third pick. That's a Big Soldier offense pick. So let's go with Trevor. Trevor, give us some opinions.
Man, this is super biased. I love Justin. One of the best people out there. Super good soldier. Has a decent flex to like Necro and Mist and Elf and whatnot. Great offender. I know Justin and Ryan get along in calls and chats and whatnot. So this team's Carson, Ryan, and Justin looks like a super fun team to be with, regardless of how well they do. So I hope I get
Yeah.
drafted for this team just to hang out with them in chat.
Yeah, Justin is a really fun person to have in call when playing the game. So I think this might be a trend of like picking Carson, who's really nice and everything in call, and then Justin, very funny guy, and to be in call with. So yeah, what Trev said, definitely a fun team.
So a nice start to the round 3. So we'll move on to the next pick here from Evan is Rongabox, a big solid flexer. Can play a bit of everything really to a decent standard. So let's go with Bloomishly. What are your opinions on big Rongabox?
Hello. I enjoy being in calls with Ronger a lot. He just brings a positive attitude as well as bringing in just solid PvP ability, solid flexibility. He plays really anything. He could play offense, defense, archer. I think that's a really good pick, especially this early on.
I'm one that thinks Ronnie actually gets quite a lot of value, and for a while there was leading the Pug leaderboard. Too bad 93 is too good. Anyway, we'll move on to the next pick here. Slowly switching over, it's Cardinate, and he's picked the big stream in Insanity, getting his medic offense early in there. I think that's a nice pick from Cardona, obviously, Food Court being the other person who's already got a meadow in himself. So I think that's the first meadow pick that we've found so far. So I guess Chalk 1, opinions on Insanity.
I know that Nin was talking in Annie chat about wanting to be picked by another Med D leader, which is Food Court, so that they can switch off Med O. Not Med D main, Med O main. But I think it is a strong pick because Nin can Med O, but can also flex to other offensive roles if need be. And Nin obviously is a very strong player, so I think that was a very smart pick. But also surprising. So yeah, moving on to who's next? Food
Big
Court.
Food
Oh.
Court. And he's picked up Pig 3 again, who cost him the tournament playing soldier defense and breaking limits. So interesting choice from Food Court. But obviously an assassin pick at this stage. Big Pesto, any thoughts on Pig 3?
Yeah, we're talking about how Food Court picked an offensive player in the second round. Interesting that Food Court picks pick 3. Pick 3 is known for her sin and whatnot, but I feel like she does a really good job of flex to offense. That being said, I do believe she's going to play assassin for Food Court. I believe these two, as you said, were also on the same team last draft Tourney in the Midnight Snack. So nice to see Food Court pick up pick 3 here.
Yeah, sweet. So we'll move on to the next. Next pick. I don't know why I thought that was the end. This is Bosque picking Seago here. So these are 3 big, solid defenders, and Bosque probably looking to
Oh
pick
my
up some
goodness.
offense later on. Trevor, thoughts on Seago?
Well, I don't even want to talk about Seago as a player. I had to tell a story from last time. It was our last match, right? Everyone was kind of tilted because our team was really bad after Azel left. And Seago did something dumb. I don't remember what he was doing wrong, but Boss was like in the middle of roasting him, and then like Boss just crashed. So he was like about to flame him, like about to say like some really funny like flame, and then he just crashed. And it was the funniest like shit ever. All I remember. All I want to say about Seago. So let us move on.
Potential tension in the team. But I guess we'll move on to the next pick. And the name of Sam has picked up Pablik, so that's a solid offender coming into the squad after picking up 2 strong defenders, or possibly an offender in Danny. So Pablik getting into the side. Who haven't I talked to for a while? I guess we'll go for Pesto for this, since it's an offender, and Pesto is our offense expert.
All right, I'm just going to keep it real. Pab is my favorite soldier O. I love watching him. He's so good at juking, and I think Sam picking up a good offense player after picking 2 other really good defensive roam is really smart from him. Pat can flex onto like Chem O and Heavy O, so he's pretty good at not just Soldier O, but Bulk O. Call me simple, whatever. I don't really care. But yeah,
That's a solid pick from Sammy, and I guess we'll move on to the next one. The last one for round 3. Big Trenny's picked up Sir Leo, another offensive pick, and another Soldier O, potentially Heavy O. I feel I shouldn't have got to Pesto. We just got to a first year member, but Bloomishly, you've had experience with big Sir Leo in TC and in the past. So any opinions on Sir Leo?
I think Sir Leo is really good to have on offense. He just has the game sense to get out of the flag room as soldier or to switch to heavy when things aren't looking so good, like because there's too many bulk or whatever. He has the routing and he has the comms. He's not a mute and he communicates where he is, and he also tries to stay with the medic a lot of times. I think that's a solid offender, especially since none of these first 3 picks can be traded away.
Yeah, cool. I mean, so
Yeah.
that's the end of round 3. Teams shaping up, offense getting picked up now, which is always a good sight to see. Offenders deserve to be spotlighted in the community. We don't win games without captures, and our offenders often do the capturing unless our ninjas are roaming up too much. Anyway, I think Chuck is taking over for round 4, so Chuck, take it away.
Okay, so round 4, Trenny's first pick for round 4 is 2008. I think that's a very smart pick. Another flex player, Elf, Sin. Any thoughts? Anybody? Padishley, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think Chris is a solid pick. Can flex a lot of defense and offense. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up being in this team. But yeah, excited to see what Trenny's plans are.
Yeah. So moving on to next pick, it's Enderbrine, a very strong archer pick. Is a one trick, so I think he's moving off of. He's still going off a strong defense. Sam, besides Pavlik, who's a strong offender. I don't think there's much to say. Very strong archer. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think they talk. I think they're mute, right?
No, they
Or
talk.
not? They talk? Oh, okay. Well, then ignore that. So next pick.
Like BM Central and that team.
Rainbow Rider 29, aka G, is Boss' next pick. That's a very strong Meadow pick, but also can flex up to other roles. Very fun to have in call as well, like Justin and Carson. So that's going to be interesting because a lot of people that talk on his team so far. Bloom, do you have any thoughts?
He is a very good person to play with, not just because he has the skill, but because he does have the game sense and also just the abilities. He's very good flex player. He's known for his medic plays, but he can really do anything. I think it was a good pick, whether for offense or defense.
Yeah. Moving on. Our next pick is Herman Savior. That's a very smart pick by Food Court. Very strong ninja. I rank his ninja very highly. Food Court going for the strong defense, I'm pretty sure, besides Bub. Yeah, all good things to say about that pick. I think it's smart to start moving to the ninjas because I don't think he picked he didn't pick any ninjas yet. So yeah, that's a good pick from Food Court. Next, moving on to our next pick is from Cardona.
Whoa.
Oh, whoa, I think that's a surprising pick. Code as Pyro. I know Bloom. Did you used to play with him?
I was never on his team, but I do enjoy playing with him. Yeah, he's a good pyro. I'm kind of surprised he went this late. Actually, he's very skilled. I'd say like the second or third best pyro in the game. Um, he's gotten a lot of clutch recovs for Delta Force, so I'm kind of excited to see how many clutch recovs he gets during the tournament.
Former blue flagger rise up.
Yeah, so we're gonna move on, I'm pretty sure. That's I think is a smart pick. Finally got a pyro main, so at least he locked in a pyro now. Moving on, BM5. I was waiting for when Ben would be picked because I think he went pretty at the right time. Very strong elf, but also can flex to archer. That was his old main. I know he doesn't enjoy it that much, but it's very good. Playing with Ronger, who's also a really good archer, so I think he's going to be on offense. Yeah, I think that's a good pick. Another flex player who can flex to other offensive roles as well. Working with Sab and Alaska though might be a little interesting. So Yep. I
Got
think we're
really good
gonna.
comms too.
Yeah, really good comms and also really fun to be in call with. Very fun person again.
He's a Liverpool fan though. That's an L. Sorry, go on.
So, unless you guys have gaming socks, the other duo, the other ninja on Annie, who's also extremely good at ninja. Don't know how he does it, but Ryan picking him, I don't think is a surprise. They work really well together on defense, alongside Justin on offense. So a lot of synergy there, and his comms are really good as well. I think so. I think he's going for the more fun call, but also skill wise, gaming socks very good. Both of the goblins have now gone picked.
Yeah,
So
the Annie goblins.
the Annie 414 goblins. um, yeah, that's the end of this round. So I am passing it on to Pesto, who's going to be taking over.
Right, so we're going into the 5th round. First pick, once again, Ryan is picking Tom D53. What a way to start off. Yeah, Tom D53, that's a in all seriousness, that's a pretty good pick. He's a really good flexible player on offense. He's really known for his elf. Yeah, I'll really pick. He's really good for his elf. He can play other classes too, though. He can play soldier. He can even play medic. I remember last year he was known for being a really good chemist, and I'm fairly sure he can still play that role pretty well today in today's meta. I mean, he was literally giving me advice on chem yesterday. Um, but yeah, that's Ryan's pick of Tom D53. I think that's a really good pick, really good friend of mine. So next up, though, we have from Evan. He's picking Monkey Noodles, player from Annie. Um, I remember his name used to be Bloom Simp. So Bloom, what is your thoughts on what are your
That
thoughts
is
on this pick?
fantastic, Ron.
Oh no.
I mean, not to simp back, but he is a pretty good flex player. I think in the last tournament he was severely underrated. I believe he was playing medic defense for the Night Wolves or thrown onto bulk. But he was doing a really good job on Annihilation playing offense. He can flex onto Ninja. I think that's a really good pick for Evan, but I do believe he's gonna have Monkey on offense just because the amount of defense players that Evan has drafted already.
Yeah, maybe they have that Annie synergy too as well between Monkey and BM5. So yeah, nice pick from Evan. Next up though, we have from Cardona picking
Oh my
Misty.
god, what the hell?
And I think this is a really good move. Miski and Nin, obviously have that Annie synergy. Trev, you're on Annie, obviously. You're a counselor, I believe. What are your thoughts on this pick?
Yeah, this is a really horrible idea from Cardona because Miski is only available for 2 hours a week. And he said that on his application specifically, and Cardona still went through with this. And if you do me a favor and put a big clown emoji over Cardona's skin, I think he might deserve it. I think he might deserve it for this pick. Miski, a very good player. No shit. I'm not shit talking Miski. He will not be available for any matches besides Sunday afternoons. So really, really questionable choice.
Obviously, Nin is, I believe, muted on stream, but I would really want to know what his thoughts were. But anyways, next pick coming from Food Court, picking college degree for his team. Um, that's a very interesting pick, I think. Chalk, what are your thoughts on this pick from Food Court?
Oh, a college degree I think is a very strong ninja, but has also been playing assassin recently. So, I know pick three is assassin main. So I think he picked college as the second ninja. So I think he's trying to fill that role again, and hopefully he's going to move on to a little bit more offense. That's all I gotta say about that.
Well, interesting. Seems so far from Food Court, he's picked 3 mute defense players so far. G. Henry picked 3 in college. Those 3 are still really good players nonetheless, but interesting that he's picked, these 3 mutes for his defense so far. Next up though, the trap coming from Boss is Chactation. Um, Jack, obviously a longtime Annie member, recently joined TM. Patty, what are your thoughts on Boss's pick here?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Jack. I think he's probably one of the more underrated offensive players and is really good at being able to switch onto Ninja if he dies a bit early. So I think there's some good Annie synergy in there as well, and probably one of the more expected picks from Boss. I think he's been a bit surprising so far. So yeah, I'll look forward to seeing Chak in that team and see how he goes. Former Annie synergy. Former Annie synergy is what I meant. Sorry. Guys, I'm old. There's so many names. So hard to keep
That
up.
that Archer Soldier O synergy is indeed pretty lethal. Anyways, Sam now he's picking the Spartan 33 for his offense. Seems like he's going to have that Pab and Spart pair on offense. I think that's a really pretty nice pick again. I feel like Spart, he was a bit inactive, I believe, for a few months this year. Just recently, in the past, month or two, though, has gone back into it, playing for DF. He is definitely still one of the best offensive players I think out there. He has really good comms, so nice pick from Sam here. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on Sprat?
Spartan is a very good player. He has good comms. He's usually paired up with Link, seeing that they're both on Delta Force, but he does well with other offenders. He's good at being that offensive duo. He calls for regroups. He's just generally a good offensive player.
Yeah, just don't put him on Ninja D. Ninja D. Anyway, next pick, I believe coming from Tourney is Avitus. Avitus is known for being a really good ninja main. He can also flex into other classes though, like Bulk D, I believe, as well as Chemo and Pyro. This is another defensive pick from Tourney. I think that's going to be Trev. I think something's wrong with your mic. Anyways, though, Avitus and B2, that's going to be a really strong ninja duo to face up against, as well as Tourney on that defense. So nice pick from Tourney. You guys have any thoughts on that? Batty, Trev, Chalk, Boom.
Yeah, I mean, I think Avitus probably snuck in a bit here. I don't know if he's been as active recently, so some leaders may have slightly forgotten about him. But I think that's a nice, solid pickup from Trenny, and it's looking like a pretty balanced first 5 rounds from him, getting a couple of offense and some solid defense in there as well. So, yeah, I'm liking Trenny's team so far.
Yeah. So, well, now heading into the 6th round, I shall pass it on to Bloom.
Actually,
Wait.
I think
we
we're
are
gonna
going
have to wait a bit. I think we did actually catch up to the leaders a little bit
Oh,
because we're just
okay.
we're demons. We're on demon time. That's how
I've
exciting
heard
stream
it.
is.
Yeah, I've heard Avitus is from most offense players I've talked to has been one of the hardest ninjas to get by. I don't know if that's true. Sounds like it's true. So yeah, that's something to note. Definitely a very hard ninja, and paired with B2, that's gonna be nasty to go against.
Yeah, he was especially hard to face before he was banned. I mean, a while ago. So he's usually paired with Wolfie, I believe, with that ADV, then CX, now DF synergy. But it seems like his fellow ninja is going to be B2 in this tournament. So again, nice pick from Trainee.
Yeah,
You guys have any other thoughts about any of these picks from the last round?
yeah. I think we might take a bit of time to go over the rosters as they are forming now, since we got a big 5 picks. So I guess we can start with Trenny. Sorry, Pesto, just like take over there. But yeah, I mean, we'll go on opinions on each individual team, I guess. So, thoughts on Trenny's team?
Oh, sorry.
He has a really good offense so far with Sir Leo 93. Those two are really good at playing main cap, as well as having really good PvP skills, both of them. And then as well as Chris, who also has a really good elf and can play other roles such as Sin, I believe Soldier O. Who else do we guys think? What do you think about Sam's team so far?
Yeah, I think Sam's team's looking pretty strong. There's some really solid defense in there, obviously with the roaming and the archer, and now the two main cappers kind of coming in. So let's hope that he manages to pick up a somewhat decent medic for those offenders as well. And that Pab, I don't know if Pab and Spart have really worked together too much, so it'll be interesting to see how that synergy forms over the tournament. But yeah, I really like Sammy's team so far. I think there've been some pretty smart choices. Admittedly, I think he has practiced a little bit in the background, just to call him a little bit of a nerd. Can't lie, but yeah, I think Sam's team will go well, as long as it's not too much of a toxic environment that kind of ends up self-imploding.
Yeah. Let's go on to Boz's team. I believe he picked Who did we pick this round? Shaq. Um, huh. Bloom, what's your thoughts? What are your
Um,
thoughts on that team?
He's had some really interesting picks. Like not picks that one would like consider. Like Aussie was kind of a surprising first pick. Like Aussie's a very good player, but I kind of expected him to go later. He's yeah, just some interesting picks, but I do think the synergy of this team is going to do well. Caro, Aussie, they were obviously on the same team. All these players play PPMs together. I think the synergy is going to be there.
That's true. Now I think about it, actually, Patty, you mentioned Annie's synergy earlier. I think I kind of joked about it because I thought you were just talking about Shaq and Boss. But now I think about it, G and Shaq were on Annie together in season 1, so I think that's probably what you meant if I had to guess. That being said, I don't know how often they play together, but I feel like, yeah, as we've said, that synergy is going to be there for Boss's team. Um, yeah, so after that, how about Evan's team? Or Food
Food
Court's
for
team, yeah.
oh, food
Um,
court.
yeah, as you said, I mean, a little interesting that he's picked 3 defensive mutes so far. Obviously, like Christmas, pick 3 and college degree, both. Hey, that rhymes. Both can flex onto offense a bit. But they're probably going to be put on defense. And with that being said, they're going to be mute. And so far, the only non-mute on that defense is Savior or Herman. Um, so I think that's interesting. Chuck, you have any thoughts on that team? Since
I think it's interesting how he's only picked one offender so far, because compared to the other picks, there've been at least 2 or 3 flexes or offense mains. So building up a strong defense, although 3 of them are mutes, is interesting. But all strong players, I think it's a very strong roster. But let's see how it works together, because um, not having enough comms can affect how strong a defense really is, even if their skill is really well. I know Bub has good comms, but I want to see who he's paired with, because it'll be interesting to see if they can work together as well.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's obviously going to be paired with Food Court, so there's going to be good comps between those
Yeah.
for sure. Next
Yeah.
team, I'm not sure who the next one is. Cardona. Yes, Cardona has a really interesting team here. He has 3 Annie members of Brandino, Nin, and Miski here. Um, as I said earlier, sort of, Nin did say yesterday that Meadows can only be as good as their main cappers, and I feel like, I mean, Nin is right here. I'm not maybe I'd be wrong, but I feel like Miski might be like the best thing he could have gone, considering he has so much synergy with Miski, playing with him over the years and whatnot. Um, so yeah, I mean, and then Brandino and Code and Mario, all really good like players on defense. Brandino, in my opinion, is just like honestly the best archer in the game, despite not playing PPMs as often as before. You guys have any thoughts on this team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, like, again, no BM to Miski at all, but I just don't think, like, I think Cardone as a leader needs to, like, just go and force Miski to quit his job or something just to free up some time, because it's like it's probably a way too early pick just for the availability is the only real concern there.
It's true.
But you never know. Hopefully Miski does get less busy, but without losing his job or something, and then can play more DTT, because Minecraft is more important.
That's
Minecraft
true.
comes before real life. But yeah, I think Cardona had a few good first rounds, but I feel like that last round may have been a little bit of a blunder, and I think the other leaders kind of BM'd him a little bit for doing the Miski pick purely off the availability, not off any skill, and that's no reflection on how Miski plays the game, because he is a good player and good for offense.
Yeah, I
For
think
sure.
Cardona has to start looking at more defense related roles, like assassin, ninja. I know Participated does play ninja, but yeah, I think they're going to start, or hopefully going to start, leaning towards that, since they have a pretty strong offense so far. Besides Miski's and his availability, his skill is good. So yeah, moving on. Have we talked about all of them? Oh, there's 2 left, so yeah, we should talk about Evans.
I've
Um,
seen a lot of good defensive players there. Again, the 3-man package as well as Wonger and Ben and Monkey. Patty,
Yeah, I
any
know.
thoughts on that team? Or Chop?
No.
Chop, do you have anything to say?
I mean,
Nah,
I know
Chop-
Ben and
okay.
Monkey, their synergies really well. They like working together on offense, so I think that worked out well because I know they like working together, and then the 3-man package, I'm sure they like working together because they call themselves that. And then Wronger like works well with everybody, I think, and also fun to have in call. I think it's a strong roster too, hitting all the spots. With the flex like Sab who can flex onto Sin, and then Wronger, Ninja, but also Archer. So I think this is one of the stronger rosters so far, in my opinion.
Sure. And the last one we have left is Ryan's team. Meow Meow Master
Meow
Ryan
Master
42.
Ryan, 42.
Yeah,
One
so
sec.
bit delayed here. Pick Tom
Formerly known as
D53.
Pyro Ryan.
Pick Tom D53 and Justin. So Ryan, if you're watching this, I know you already picked like 3 main cappers, but bro, if you put me at 53 and Justin in that match server together, we're gonna eat. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Again, I know you already picked 3 main cappers, but anyways, Trev is back with us now, I believe. I'm not sure if his mic is fixed or not. Yeah.
Are we showing Ryan's roster or? Oh,
Just
okay. So
technically-
we're not.
Just
No
trust
need.
us. Ryan's roster is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, no need to show his roster. We remember it. Very rememberable.
And
So
we're gonna go back to our regularly scheduled program, and we're gonna be just going through the drafts again. So let's look at the 6 people roster.
Yeah. I'll let Bloom lead this for us.
All right, give me 1 second. Okay, so Trenny with the next pick, it seems that he has picked Zarpin. Zarpin's known for his pyro and his archer. He's a defense main. He can flex onto different classes. He can do bulk as well. Something to note is that he is also a mute. So that's a Vetus and Zarpin that's muted under defense. Tireless should be able to like keep up the comms on his defense, but yeah, I think that's a pretty solid pick considering.
yeah, he knocked out the pyro pick now. So before a lot of the pyro mains got picked, smart to
Oh
pick
yeah, true. All
one
right,
finally
so
now.
yeah. All right, moving on to the next team. That is the name is Sam with Linkaka Shishui or just Link. I think that's a very good pick, especially since he already has Spartan on his team. The Link and Spartan duo, along with Pavlik, that is going to be such a strong offense. What do you think, Pesto?
Yeah, I agree. That's gonna be. I mean, we did literally mention it earlier that Spartan and Link have like some of the best offensive synergy. I can't speak offensive synergy in the game. And then again, like with Pab, I feel like so far he's had. This is also his first mute that he's picked about. But by the way, Jesus, I'm stuttering like a muff. But anyways, yeah, he has a really good defensive roam. Now he has 3 really good main cappers. I wonder who he's going to pick for both his Pyro and his Med O because he hasn't picked anyone for either of those 2 roles yet. So, but yeah, I really like this pick from Sam.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising how late Pyros are going this tournament compared to last tournament when they were going like first, second round. Moving on to the next pick. It's going to be Wolfie98 on Team Bosque. Wolfie is a very good ninja. He does have the comms. Compared or like combined with Carowinds on defense, I think that's going to be a very formidable ninja duo on Boss team. What do you think, Patty?
Yeah, interesting formation so far, and like it's a very strong defense that he's creating. I'll be interested to see where the offense comes from. I guess Chak is like the only I guess Aussie is there as well as a main cap, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that kind of forms together. But it does feel like a bit of a defensive focus so far from Boss. So maybe going for the a good offense is a good defense type of thing. So yeah, I mean, but like a good pick for Wolfie, and 6th round is pretty good value. Obviously, he was a leader last year, so we don't know what his market value was previously. So yeah, good choice from Boss, I think.
Market value. Going ahead to the next pick, that's going to be Pesto right here on Team Food Court.
Pesto.
Let's
Wait, what the
go.
fuck?
Oh.
Ayo, look at this.
I was
You
no,
said you
I
needed to
wasn't.
draft more sets. There you are, man.
I wasn't
So
expecting to be
the
picked this early.
Pesto
Um,
no Puno duo. What do you think, Pesto?
um, uh, I think
um.
Bub's a really good player. I like playing with him a lot. As well as Food Court, really good med O. Um, yeah, I was not expecting to be picked this early. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun team to play on. I believe Food Court bringing back Midnight's Next 2.0 or some shit. That's a it's an interesting
Yeah,
pick.
it's gonna be a solid offense from Team Food Court. And with G Henry on the defense, yeah, it's looking pretty good for his team. So we're gonna move on to the next pick, which is actually Calligraph on Team Cardona. I do know that Callig has specifically requested to play defense this tourney, not offense. So any thoughts?
Well, Cardona's already shown his prowess in being unable to read, so I'm not sure if he knows Calig requested that. So we'll see how that pans out in his team chat later.
You're not Patty, but that works. Sorry.
Gold.
Yeah,
Um,
I kind of have to wonder how it's going to go for Team Cardona just with the unavailability of Miski and Calig only playing defense. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next pick, which is Overcast Unicorn from Team Saiyan Evan. Talk any thoughts?
I think Overcast is a very slept-on player, in my opinion. So it's good to see that he's going finally. Very, very good elf. Although he's a mute, he communicates pretty well, through chat. So I think it's gonna be interesting for him to work with Ben. Maybe double elf action there. Who knows? But yeah, I think it's a very good pick. He can also go into soldier um offense. So yeah, interesting but very good pick, I think.
Yeah, Overcast is a pretty solid pick. Moving on to the next pick is going to be Obi Kenobi for Meow Master Ryan 42. Obi is a ninja from Delta Force who I think is kind of underrated. He does a very good ninja and has for years. Pesto, any thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like Obi, he's really good at Ninja, obviously. He made a name for himself last year. He was part of the winning team, Redacted Force. So nice to see him back here. I'm honestly a little surprised he was picked this early. Then again, I'm not sure what other ninjas there are available at this time. Um, Knowing Obi, he's a really well experienced player too. He's obviously a council member on Delta Force. Um, so I'm pretty sure he can flex around other roles too, if I'm correct. I have seen him play other roles, knowing him and whatnot. So I'm happy to see him be picked this early.
Okay, so that is the end of this round, round 6. So I am going to go ahead and pass it over to Trev if he can.
I always can.
Oh, hello there.
He's always prepared.
Ryan going immediately for the anti-bias pick with Doggo. Doggo's super good engineer. He has a nice flex chem. Really excited to see Doggo and Ryan team up together. They have a lot of experience with official matches and all the VOD reviews we do. And along with Gaming Stocks and ex-Annie member Carson there. This looks like a pretty good team that's forming here with both a good balance of good defenders and a lot of good offense support players.
Yeah, I feel like something I've noticed from Doggo is that even after both the Chemist buff and the Engie nerf, I have seen Doggo still prefer playing Engie over Chemist and PPMs here and there. Um, it's gonna be interesting seeing what sort of decision he makes in game between those two. He can also play other roles, I believe, playing things like Soldier O or Bulk D. So interesting picks. Interesting pick from Ryan here. It seems like It seems like some of you are a bit surprised in game chat. But anyway,
Yeah.
Ooh, the imposed pick from Evan. Notably, the only person to be traded last season to the disgruntlement of SimCB, who got traded out of a first place trophy. So, and you never know, she might complain about being in Evan's team and get traded over again this year. So let's stay tuned for that. Impo is a pretty good flex player, mainly an assassin player. Will play Med D if they have to, but I don't think Evan would waste his 8th round pick on a Med D player. So we're probably going to see Impos be playing the assassin kit. So then that really begs the question of, now what does Sabu do? Does he play ninja or does he play offense? What do you guys think, Patty?
For Sabu. I would. I mean, it's still kind of hard to tell. I feel like Evan is developing a really strong defense at the moment, but I feel like Sab is a potential main capper for his offense at the moment. Overcast could be that secondary capper, and Monkey could be supporting. So yeah, I feel like as the team progresses, you'll definitely be able to see where Sab fits in. But I think at the moment I'm leaning towards maybe offense, but we'll see. And I think Diana has also, or Impo, sorry, has also played medic offense for maybe LB. So LB, yeah, sure. I'm so old, I can't remember things anymore. But dementia is setting in.
This is like 6 a.m. in Australia, isn't it, or some shit like that?
It's 7:30. I'm waking up. It's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, could potentially be a medic offense pick as well because she did work well with Sabu throughout. So interesting where both of those players will end up. But yeah, that's my very inconclusive opinion. Sorry.
Oh, Cardona, Cardona. Oh. I don't know about this one, guys. I love Mateo. What? No words, Cardona. Because you already have, let's see, you have Miski, Nin, those are your medic and main cap. You got Cardona himself, who's kind of like a secondary cap. And you're getting a support offender this early when you're kind of lacking defense. Really, unless he wants Mateo to play bulk, which I doubt. Not really sure, question mark. But, Bloom, do you have anything not mean to say about this pick? Because I'm trying to hold my tongue.
Okay. I think Mateo is a good flex player. He can also play defense. I've seen him play ninja and assassin and PPMs before. I wouldn't discount him that quickly. He can play a solid offense and solid defense. I am also kind of surprised he went this early, but I don't think he's a bad player at all. Right.
Moving on.
We're going to move on to the next pick.
Yep.
Oh,
Let's go.
another surprising pick, but it looks like Food Court to Pesto's audible pop off there that he's going to try the Scotia offense team stack here. Pesto, any words to speak for your boy Averged?
Just wait till they pull out the Pesto Chem with the average up. No, just kidding. Yeah, I'm really excited. I really love playing with average. Obviously, me and him have been playing for so long together. Well, not so long, but like we've been playing a few months together ever since like the middle of season 1. I mean, personally, from my perspective, because since I'm like now a member of that team, this is a really good pick. And average is really good at supporting the Meds, so I think Food should be really happy with this pick as well. Average going, what is it, 7th round? It's a pretty good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess Bosque picked up. I like to call him Quad X, but Henry here, playing soldier off role. Interesting pick from Boss, I guess. Pesto. Oh wait, no, we just got opinions from you. We don't need more. Bloomishly, give us opinions.
Oh, whoops. I feel like kind of a toss in the air. He can be a good offender, but there are also some other times where I don't know. His skill kind of varies from time to time. It's kind of like another Link player. No flame towards Link or anything. He can be a very good player. I also didn't expect him to go this early, but yeah, I'm assuming that he's going to be the main capper for Team Boss. So I guess we'll watch out for that.
You say
Yeah.
Link?
I did.
She was comparing it to Link.
Yeah, I mean, at least XX isn't a mute and doesn't back up still. Anyway, yeah, move on.
True.
Kind
We'll
of.
move on to the next pick.
Just kidding. I love you, Link.
So the name of Sam has picked up Zia, bulk D for Fosha. Chuck, one opinions.
Zia's a really good bulk. Very hard to get by, I think. Is a mute, but they have talking people on their defense like Dave and Danny, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. He's slowly filling the roles on defense, filling them up now. So I think it kind of fills up defense now, basically. So he should be heading to offense. But yeah, Zia, very strong player, very good bulk. Although they're mute, doesn't really affect them as much as other mutes. So yeah.
Yeah, Zia, I feel like is a player who has improved so much in the past few months, and I feel like an underrated bulk D. Just I do want to note she does unmute in FT calls, so I wonder if she's going to unmute in calls in the draft tourney. Honestly, if I had to guess, probably not, but who knows?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. There's plenty of comms on that team already, and a weirdly monochromatic head team there. Just a random aside for that.
She also has synergy with Danny also. Anyways, yeah, go on, sorry.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next pick here. So last pick for this round, Tourney coming in with Nemo, filling in for probably that's a really interesting flex choice. I'll be wondering where that puts in, but I would imagine maybe an offensive pick there. So who haven't we talked to for a while? Blue Mishley.
Hello. Nemo is so underrated. I feel like he's a good archer, a good assassin. He can flex onto offense as medic or soldier. He's just super underrated, and I think Tourney did a really good job of picking him. I feel like he's going to be one of those players who people don't think they're going to perform, but then he ends up being like one of those players who carries. I think Nemo is a solid pick.
Yeah, so that brings us to the conclusion of round 8, and I think we'll flow straight on to the next round. I guess I'll keep going. Trev has had mic issues. So Trenny has picked up Shaman, or previously, I believe, Cheese, who is Fosha's
Cheese.
archer. Pesto,
Oh.
pesto, pesto. Pop him off. Go cray.
He is honestly also a really underrated archer. Obviously, I mean, I'm obviously a bit biased because we're both FT teammates. But yeah, he's a really good archer. He can like drop a 70 bomb any day on your team, and I really like this pick from Trinity. We did just mention Nemo. We kind of did just mention Nemo Archer. But I believe Chi is going to play that Archer role for Trinity. And I believe Chi also is trying out different roles a bit, playing like Scout and Bulk D. I believe he has pretty decent PvP skills, so maybe the next Brandino? Who knows?
No, I agree though. It was a really good archer pick. I've been enjoying watching the Fosha matches just off of Cheese's archer. So really nice pick there from Trenny. We'll move on to the next one here. It's suspenseful here. The name of Sam has picked up Big Cherry, which I think the Spartan 33 will be proud of because he gets webbed a lot and he gets very angry about it. So Cherry is a nice pickup from Sammy.
Cherry.
Chuck, opinions on Cherry?
Cherry is so good. Like I think anytime Cherry plays in the flag room, with their pyro, no shade to their pyro, but Cherry definitely carries the flag room. Can solo backups really well, and although they're a mute, also doesn't affect them. And I think yeah, they're a really good med D, and also can flex to med O. So Sam might be thinking about that as well, since they don't have a med O. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm really liking the synergy on this team. We said the Spartan Link have really good synergy, but also on defense we have Danny, Zia, and Cherry. I know those three love playing together, so I mean maybe they don't, but I think they do. So yeah, I really like the synergy on Sam's team. About halfway through this.
Yeah, looking good for the name is Sam. I guess we'll move on. So Bosque has picked up G'day, g'day. It's an Australian. Big F1 Brown has come in for Bosque. Another interesting pick from Boss, not one that I would expect. F1 probably the best Australian, I can't lie. I'm allowed to take stocks in that. Sorry, Ant, the other Australian that's around. So I think it's a good ping advantage, I guess. Bloomishley, thoughts on F1 Brown?
F1 Brown is a solid player. He uses his ping to his advantage is something I can say. He lands hits that shouldn't be possible for a regular player, but he manages to play defense very well despite his ping. I think he's a solid pick.
F1 with that 7 block radius, no fly zone. I really like it. Really
We'll
like it.
keep it up throughout the tournament for Bosque. Moving on to the next pick here. And it looks like Food Court has picked up Goth Boy Tim?
Yeah, it's just Tim,
I think
the
that's a name change. That's probably a
Roxy
name
Perch.
change.
It's a name change.
Is that who is it? Is it K-Rex?
It's
Tim.
Tim. It's
Oh,
Tim.
T-Tim. Oh yeah. T-Tim. That's an interesting pick. Normally an archer, I believe. Anyone with more experience take it over?
Yeah,
I feel like just
he,
like sorry, go on.
oh
Go.
no.
No, go
Yeah,
on.
normally he plays Archer. I don't remember what team he was on, but he did have a very good Arch performance. I think Food Court recognizes that just because he can be like a little underrated, just because he's not like a Bosque or a Brandy the B, doesn't mean he can't have really good Archer gameplay. So I think he's a good pick.
Yeah, I believe he's a really good player on that Roxy's defense. So nice pick from Food.
Yeah, nice. So moving on to the next pick here.
Also a non-mute, which is something we noted.
So Cardona's gone with Chalk 1, another Death member going. Chalk 1, how do you feel to be joining Cardona's team?
Honestly, didn't expect to go. Not like this is not early, but I was worried I wouldn't even like be picked. But anyways, it's interesting. I'm a lot of my teammates, Nin, Brandino, Mitski, are on this team. I've played with Rave a lot and Calig a little bit. It's a fun team. But I'm very surprised. I didn't think I'd be picked this late. I don't know what word to say, but like this late or early. But yeah, I'm surprised to see me up there.
Well, congrats on being picked 8th. I mean, that's 8th? Yeah, 8th. No, that's great. That's awesome. Put some
Yeah,
stock
that's
in yourself, Chalk.
surprising.
Flex a bit.
Surprising, but yeah, I'm happy to be picked now. So yeah, fun team.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next pick here. So Evan has gone with Bar1234, former leader last year of the Night Wolves. Pesto, thoughts on Bar1234, the leader of the Roxurses?
Yeah, I really like Bar. I feel like Trini said this before. But Bar is really good at supporting his offense, I feel like, and he's not known for being like 93 level or Sabu level, but he does a really good job at supporting his offense, as I just said. And I feel like he's honestly a bit of a sleeper pick. So I like this pick from Evan, trying to boost up that offense. Interesting to note though, he's picked both Unicorn and Bar, both elf mains. Obviously those two can sort of flex between roles. Um, I mean, who knows? Maybe Bar will be put on Pyro, which is a class he's not that bad on. But yeah, interesting pick from Evan. I feel like I say that all the time with all these picks, but I genuinely feel like that's intriguing.
They're all engaging in the brain. Anyway, we'll move on to the next pick here. And it looks like Meow Master Ryan42 has picked up Joker Knight, who actually had a pretty decent tournament last time we did DTT, getting some disgusting void and spawn swaps on people. So, Blimishly, thoughts on Joker Knight, or formerly Diamond League?
I used to be on the team with him. He's a pretty solid player. I believe last DTT he went kind of late-ish as well, and he got some pretty good plays. I know he hasn't been as active as he used to be, but I wouldn't discount him because of that. He's an okay player. He's a pretty good pick.
Yeah, so I think that closes out round 8. I guess Pesto, would you like to lead the next round?
Why not? Okay. Ryan is picking TV or Netflix for his team. I think that's a really interesting pick. Obviously Ryan himself is a Pyro main. TV himself is also a Pyro main. Is obviously also a Pyro main. That is really interesting. When he picked Carson, wait, I should be leading this. Chalk, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's very smart. So now Netflix is a Pyro main. So I think Ryan, I think I see where he's going with this. His off is very good, very solid defense. With I think Ryan's going to be on bulk most likely. With Chick D maybe, with Gaming Stocks and Obi Ninja duo very strong, and then Chick D might be on Sin. Who knows? But yeah, I think it's very strong. And not a surprising pick, I think, because I know we said at the beginning he doesn't want to be Pyro, or we thought he didn't want to be Pyro. So yeah, Netflix is not very slept on, but is slept on. So it's good to see he's going to be getting some value in this tournament for sure.
He was inactive for a few months, but he has definitely gotten back into it playing CTF the past month or two. The next pick, though, coming from Evan, is Trev. Trev, you've been picked by Evan. What are your thoughts on this pick?
Well, it's interesting to be picking a mage 9th round, because I refuse to play any other class besides mage, so.
Okay, interesting. Yeah,
Well, I think
can't wait to see the Trev mage paired with the Sab, Alaska, Evan defense. So
yeah,
interesting thoughts from Trev. Go
I
on.
think last year AP Literature got picked up in like round 5 or something as mage. So you might have gone a bit late there, Trevor, to be honest. But I feel like people are undervaluing your mage.
Yeah, so having said, the next pick coming from, I believe, Cardona is Rejected or Dot. That is another interesting pick. Dot being known for his good defensive flexibility. He's known for playing Pyro, but he also can play other roles such as Sin and Bulk D and Ninja. He has a really good PvP skill. You guys have any thoughts on this pick from Cardona?
I'm staring directly at
Oh,
Blimsley.
hello. He's a pretty good player. I've seen him flex before. Pyro, Bulk. I've seen him on offense a couple times. I believe I've seen him on Chemist before. He's a pretty solid player. EU ping, but like he's pretty good. A solid player all around.
Yeah, and sometimes he's a mute, sometimes he's not. So interesting pick from Cardona. Next pick though, coming from Food Court is Karix. That's a really good pick from Food Court. Man, this guy Food Court. Sorry. Man, that's a great pick. In interesting pick from Food Court, picking Karix. I'm gonna be interested in seeing where he puts Karix. I feel like he's gonna, considering he's already picked. Actually, hmm, considering he's picked me and Bub, he might put Karix Elf. But he could also play Bulk D, and Karix can play just a lot of other roles. I personally also really like this pick from Food Court. Having that FT stack on the team. You guys have any other thoughts besides me? Because obviously my view is a bit biased, to say the least.
Yeah, I think K-Rex might have gone a bit earlier previously because he was probably a bit more active, and I think he got picked up by. Oh yeah, he was on Bedtime Boys. So yeah, I think I like this pick from Foucault again. I think his team is shaping up really well. I think there's a lot of good picks so far, and I think probably one of the leaders who has the most experiences doing these type of things, doing these drafts. So yeah, I really like that K-Rex pick. I think it's in a really good spot, and maybe was forgotten for a bit there by the other leaders. So nicely done from Food Court, I think.
Okay. We again lit an FT member. Anyways, yeah, we're not picking food as you said. Next up, we have Boss picking Spades for his team. That is a really interesting pick. Spades is a veteran in the community known for his bulk and Ninja D, former Blue Flagger, current DF member. You guys have any thoughts on that? Trev, do you have any thoughts on this? Since you're also a veteran of the community and you spend a lot of time around DF, I feel like.
Spades is definitely a very good flex player. He used to be a really good prominent bulk player. Good assassin for TC back in the day. He used to be more of a flex player than he is now, but he can definitely grab the WD-40 and rust off whatever he wants, whatever boss wants him to play. So excited to see how Spades fits into this team. At first glance, it looks like he's going to be their Pyro maybe. So we'll see if he's happy or maybe a little bit pissed off about playing that class.
Yeah, being put in Pyro jail. Interesting pick there. Yeah. Anyways, though, next up we have from Sam is she is picking Cupcake for her team. For his team, my bad. For his team, yeah, picking Cupcake. I think this is a really good pick from Sam, though. Having first off, he already had Spartan Link. Now he has Cup on that team. I think so far. I mean, I already said it before. The synergy on this team is looking crazy. So far. You guys have any thoughts on that? Bloom, you have any thoughts on this pick?
Surprised that Cherry went before Cupcake. Both of them are solid medics, but typically the offense medic gets picked over the defense medic. I do think that Cupcake's a solid pick. She's a very good medic, one of the best in the game. I think this is gonna benefit well for their offense, especially one that's as strong as the one that Sam has right now.
Yeah, for sure. I really like that offense, as you said. Link, Spark, Pad, and Cup is lethal in my opinion. And yeah, so Sam looking really strong at the start here. Next up, we have Trinity picking Mystic Mad for his team. Patty, you have any thoughts on that? Trinity's pick here?
Yeah, I mean, so this is the end of the round as well, and I think Mystic is a solid pickup. Can flex quite decently onto defense and has pretty good comms, which will kind of take up for the lack of, Zarpin and Navitas being mutes. It'll be interesting to see where she kind of fits in there. I don't know if she'll. I'm just trying to figure it out, to be honest. But she, might be a med D pick or maybe a bulk D, and Zarpin will play Pyro. I feel like there's a lot of flexibility in Trenny's roster at the moment, and we'll be able to see. Well, it'll be interesting to see where each member lands in that roster. But yeah, Mystic's a good player and strong PvP, so really looking forward to seeing her perform for Team Trenny.
So we are actually ending the death segment right here. Round 8, I believe that was. We will be back once draft is over, but yeah, we are going to conclude the this.
So
Yeah, so the draft will still be being streamed by Ninsanity. He'll be going through individually each person getting picked. So Nin's going to do the long yards here, go through all 7 rounds until we come back to talk at the end. So big shout out to Nin. He'll keep continuing with the draft, and good luck to the rest of the leaders. We'll be interested to see how the rest of these teams shape up. But thank you for joining us for these first, I think, 9 rounds, actually. And we look forward to seeing you at the very end of this draft team tournament draft.
Bro, why am I Steve's?
darkest night, I saw your eyes. A sense of threat that I can't forget. I wanna know who you are. This is what I need to know. So take my hand and let our fears go. Take me to your jungle, where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to your kingdom. Yeah, take me to the, take me to the. Take me to your jungle, where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to your kingdom. No words describe your savage life. Ooh, let's give it a go like our purpose shows. I wanna know who you are. This is what I need to know. So take my hand and let our fears go. Take me to your jungle where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to your kingdom. Yeah, take me to the. Yeah, take me to the. Take me to your jungle where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to your kingdom. Yeah, take me to the jungle. take you for a ride, dancing with the lights, our hearts beating like a drum. Tonight, let me take you for a ride, for a ride. Let's go crazy, my baby, dancing with the lights. Together we could chase the sun. Tonight, let me take you for a ride. Ooh, tonight, let me take you for a ride, for a ride. Let me take you for a ride. Ooh, tonight, oh, tonight. I saw your eyes. A sense of threat that I can't forget. I wanna know who you are. This is what I need to know. So take my hand and let our fears go. Take me to your jungle where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to your kingdom. Yeah, take me to the. Yeah, take me to the. Take me to your jungle where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to your kingdom. Yeah, take me to the jungle. No words describe your savage life. Ooh, let's give it a go like our purpose shows. I wanna know who you are. This is what I need to know. So take my hand and let our fears go. Take me to your jungle where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to your kingdom. Yeah, take me to the. Yeah, take me to the. Take me to your jungle where the rain is warm and the birds fly. Take me to your kingdom. Yeah, take me to the jungle.
And welcome back to the death segment. There's a bunch of ugly faces here.
Steve skin. I have a Steve skin. Sorry, go on.
So we'll be going over the draft team tournament. The draft, I believe, is going through the last round now. So we're going to go over each individual team and talk about how they've formed over the past half hour or so since we've been off the air, and yeah, talk about any predictions, I guess, early on. So I think we'll start with Team Tourney here. I'm going to hype Team Tourney up because I'm on Team Tourney, so that means we're going to win, right? Yeah. Anyway, first opinions. Let's go with Pesto first. How's your opinion on Team Tourney? How have they gone? How's Tourney gone with the draft?
I really like this team. I really like the depth they have with players like Agekin and Epic Man 502 and whatnot. They have some really good starters. They have Sir Leo B2 93. Those are some really good starters. I am curious how the synergy is going to go with that team because I haven't really like, unlike the other teams, I don't feel like many of these players have really played together too often. Maybe some players like Agekin and Epic Man, I know those two are both on Team Pong. But besides that, yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm gonna be interested in seeing how this team synergy wise runs together. Yeah, but it's a good team nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the best parts about the draft team tournament. You get to play with players that you haven't really played with before. Like personally, I don't think I've really ever played with anyone apart from Tourney and Leo. So it'll be really interesting to see how that team goes. Any other opinions on big team Tourney? Bloom shakes her head. She says no, despise. And the other guys are staying silent. So I guess we'll move on to the next team, which is team, the name is Sam, who had a pretty solid draft, I believe. Let's go over to Bloomishly. How do you believe Sam did throughout the draft?
I feel like he got a really strong offense with Link, Pab, Spark, Cupcake, Snowbreak too. That's a really strong offense and a pretty solid defense. Himself, he's a pretty good assassin. Danny, Dave, just everyone on the team. He had a really good draft. I think one of the best this tournament actually. I think he did really well. Looks like a solid team. Doesn't look like a team that would tilt too easily. I think the synergy is going to be there.
Yeah, no, I like Team Sam. I think it's got a lot of potential. Team Training obviously on top, but you know, Sam did well. Any other opinions from the desk?
Not really for me.
Yeah, more silence from everybody.
Red
Anyway,
Bull
I guess
sleeper pick.
Red Brew did get in there quite late, so we're moving on to Team Bosque. An interesting draft for Boss, I think. He did say to me in PMs that a few of his drafts did get stolen by Trenny, who goes just before him with the double pick. So might have been a bit interrupted his draft. But how do you guys think Boss went? Chuck, if you're there.
Oh, I think it's a pretty solid. We were kind of iffy at the start because they were pretty surprising picks, but I think it's pretty solid. Definitely a very strong defense sided team. With Boss obviously very good archer, Caro, Seago, Wolfie, F1, all very good defensive players. And then on offense, I think they're also really good. Aussie will probably be on offense, I think. XXXX as well. So yeah, very defense favored map. Not map. Defense favored team. In my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always one of those things where you see the team on paper and it may look a bit weird, but you get into the game and maybe Boss comes up with an incredible strategy that just works out and somebody on a roll that you don't expect. So it's always the same with these drafting tournaments. You think that they may be determined immediately by the draft, but teams can perform still throughout. I guess we'll move on to the next team, which I believe is Team Food Court, if I'm not mistaken. There he is.
Yeah.
With big bad Plexa coming in at the end. Big Trevor, any thoughts on Team Food Court Midnight Snacks 2.0?
This is probably the best late round pick you could hope to get. Badmouse, while maybe not known for being like a huge carry player, is definitely not bad. I'm surprised a lot of people went before him. Like a lot of people went before him who I don't think deserve to go before him because he's been playing. He's on Fotia, so maybe Pesto can speak a little bit more about how he plays with the team. But I think Food Court lucked out, honestly, getting this good of a player this late.
Yeah, Bamaus is a really good player for us. He's definitely improved a lot in the past few months and whatnot. Generally, I feel like this team. I mean, I'm obviously gonna be a bit biased because I'm on it, but there's gonna be a lot of good synergy on this team. I'm seeing, Bub and Food and Average. Average told me that he works really well with those two, and then me, Average, and Carex, we all work really well together. As well as Mimi. I feel like Mimi's also a really good late pick here. Um, I wonder how they're gonna I wonder how Mimi and Food are gonna play around with each other, seeing how like Food is, obviously the Meadow here, and Mimi is also Meadow main. So maybe Mimi will play mid D, or maybe even Food Court switches around, maybe playing other offensive roles. Or maybe Mimi will play Sin, who knows?
Yeah, I think it's one of those, like there's some teams who maybe don't have a very obvious Meadow, and um, that that's a pick that I feel may have been missed by a few leaders. That's a pretty solid medic offense that has gone to a team that already has a medic offense as a leader, which I think probably shouldn't have happened. But oh well, has happened. Good luck to Team Food Court. Did really well in the draft, and that's kind of reflected. Anyway, we'll move on to the next team. Maybe some minor tech. No, we're good. And we've got Team Cardona coming in here. Bloomishly, thoughts on Team Cardona?
Well, I actually got drafted for this team. Kind of surprised. I think Cardona's picks are a bit surprising, but I do think that he picked like players who aren't known to tilt. These are very friendly players. I think we're I don't know, gonna have good synergy. I guess we'll see how we perform in the actual matches. Yeah, kind of excited.
Yeah, I think it would be
Yep.
an interesting one for Dona. Yeah, go Chalk.
No, I was just agreeing with Bloom. It's interesting draft. Hopefully availability isn't an issue. Last picks are pretty interesting. I think there is value on waddling around. Definitely on Roche, or however you say it. They're a good offensive player. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting team for sure.
Yeah, and I think some really strong first picks from Cardona. Brandino can really do a lot of work on Archer at the beginning, so hopefully teams don't kind of pick maps to get away from Brandino too much. And obviously Nen is a fantastic medic. So yeah, I think Cardona's still got like quite a good bit of competitiveness. Man, I can't speak. Anyway, let's move on to the next team. And this is Team Saiyan or Evan with picking Olive in the last round, Mr. Ant 87, another AU coming in there, Fatal Best, Pudgy, Wintergreen 3. A lot of people in there. Let's go with Pesto. What are your thoughts on Team Evan?
Evan took half the elf population with his team. He has players like Fatal Best, Blaze, Bar, BM5, Barney or 100th, Unicorn. I think that's really interesting. I wonder which one of these players are going to flex the soldier and whatnot, because they'll definitely need that throughout the tourney. I feel like the biggest part that shines on their team is that three-man package with him, Evan himself, Sab, and Alaska. Those three playing together in that realm. I mean, it's probably going to be, hopefully, ideally, there'd be good synergy there, as well as Ronger, who is also a really good flex player. We said it earlier in the draft. Ronger can like flex around many roles on that team. Trev, you have any thoughts since you're on this team?
Definitely agree with you there. It's looking like a Lord of the Rings scene with all these elf players on our team. Something to also note how we mentioned earlier about the potential vibes for the team with people like Evan, Alaska, and Sabu. I think we were kind of joking around in our team chat already how the three bad vibes are canceled out by some good vibes, such as me, Ronger, and Ben bringing some good vibes to the team. So, following PIMDAS, all the vibes are canceled out. So hopefully it won't be too bad. But I'm really excited to play with these people. I think we got some really good late round picks like Pudgy and Winter, namely being like really solid late round picks. So I think it's going to bolster our team, and I don't think any other team stands a chance. Sorry.
The word of the law has been laid down by Trevor. It's predetermined we can't win the tournament. Anyway, we'll move on to our final team here, and we'll figure out who the final pick was. And it was Abracadabra X, and you know what that means, guys? Where is Magoo? I can't believe it. Magoo has been left out of
Magoo
this
was
Free
tournament.
robbed.
Magoo.
I'm
They
Magoo
were
was
he's been
robbed.
robbed.
Ew.
He's been
Most
absolutely
underrated
robbed.
archer in the game
Yeah.
next to Pesto.
I'm just upset. Top kills leaderboard. That's all I'm saying. You're a bunch of fools.
Magoo.
They shouldn't let's
Ryan, man.
redo the draft. Redo the draft.
Redo
Anyway.
the draft. I'm down.
I would've picked him.
Something I have to point out is
Um,
Evan said he does not like playing against elf players. So his philosophy is if you get all of them, you don't have to play against them. So
I mean, big brain strats from Big Evan. But yeah, so we've got Team Ryan here. This is our last team. Let's throw to Bloomishley for the last team. Give us some opinions.
He got some pretty good picks. I'm surprised that his Pyro went so late. Netflix I'm looking at. I'm surprised that Avi went kind of late blockade, but he got some overall really good picks in Tom D, Chick D, Ruska. Like that's a solid roster right there. He did a pretty good job on drafting.
Yeah, so shaping up to be a pretty competitive tournament. Really looking forward to it all playing out. So I guess that's the end of the draft. Our teams have been determined. Hopefully, we'll get some fun team names coming in soon, and we'll be able to talk about them in short rather than having to say Team Ryan, Team Evan, blah blah blah. But yeah, thank you for joining us for the draft here. I guess we'll begin to close it out. But as we come to the end, don't forget there is still the season final to come. Annie versus the Monkeys will be happening at some point. I don't know when because I'm not on either of those teams and I'm not checking the spreadsheet. But
It's
gonna
happening.
happen.
It's happening not this weekend, but next weekend, the 10th weekend. So yeah.
Yeah, look forward to that. That's our next big CMS event. Going on to the final of season 2. Who's going to win, the Monkeys or Annihilation? Put your bets in. No one's really going to get any money from it though.
The
But
monkeys. The monkeys.
the monkeys. He says.
Bro, don't say that in front of
Hot
me.
takes. But yeah, thank you for joining us for the draft. We'll have DT2 coming to you soon after season 2 concludes. And it should be a good time. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you to Pesto, Bloomishly, Trevor, Chuck One, and Insanity behind the scenes, man. He's been doing the long haul here, going through all the stream, doing all the drafting. Mr. Ant87 for running the spreadsheet that the leaders were actually drafting off, and all the leaders for dedicating some time while the Euros were on, and Cardona apparently went to the shops at one point. It's been a busy day. But thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Tonight